Much better. Welcome, everybody, to today's episode of the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. It's your boy, Bob Rock. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my camera here. I think that's a little better. What you guys think? Just want to avoid the glare from the ring light. So, we're just gonna give it a few minutes. Ah, there we go. There's my man Dirk. What's happening, Dirk? You are almost always the first one in. Really, really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for always joining in. Ooh, that light is bad. Ah, there we go. That's much better. Just playing around with the lights here. Uh, Seems okay. How's that? Yeah. Yeah. And my boy Rob. What's happening, Rob? Woohoo! So good to see you guys, man. Um, could I ask you guys for a favor to please share the live so people know that it's on? I mean, I tried, uh, sharing the post quite a bit, and to try and get more people in. So hopefully we get a few more in, especially for the guys out in the US. It'll be nice if we get more of the guys in. But yeah, so for you guys, I hope that the episode isn't going to be too boring, but perhaps you could throw in your comments and your ideas once we start getting the show going, so you guys don't feel so bored. Um, so yeah, I think you know what. Let's get right into it and let's do it. So today's episode is aimed more at um, people, a lot of people outside of the hobby, or for the new guys just entering in, or for the guys who are really interested in RC drifting but don't actually know what it's all about. So the past week or so, I'd say the past couple of weeks, I've been getting some uh, interesting feedback from a number of people. And what I've realized is that a lot more people actually watch the podcast than I realized. And some of these comments came from those from some of those people, where they mention that, look, we log on, we want to watch something different, we want to watch the podcast, but we've got no clue about what you're talking about. So how about doing something for the guys that's just entering into the hobby, or for the guys that don't know at all what's going on in the hobby? So why don't you do an episode that would explain what you do? So here it is. This is the episode where we're gonna do that. Aloha, my brother. How are you doing, man? Thank you so much for the love and support, bro. Really, really appreciate it. Um, Mahalo for that. Thank you so much, man. We're just trying to get the word out there, trying to, spread the beauty of RC drifting, and trying to get people back into the hobby, trying to re-inspire people within the hobby, and try and bring about a new sense of uh, motivation and purpose in RC drifting again. So as was always part of the podcast, and besides all of that, also bringing news from around the world of RC drifting. And also, I must congratulate you, Zachary, for becoming uh, a driver for AccuVans. Yeah, so well done to you, man. You definitely deserve it. Um, so you know, I'm doing this on my phone and I can't see how many people are on actually. What happens if I press this button? Ow. It's just giving me the time. Okay, anyway, we'll just get into it. So, guys, so Zachary, as I was mentioning to the other guys, um, what the what the purpose of today's episode is to, again, to explain what RC drifting is about. And for the guys, for the seasoned guys that do watch the podcast, it might feel a little bit monotonous, a little bit boring, but I think it would be really good if you guys also interact and throw in your comments regarding what drifting is about, and perhaps that will encourage those other people that's watching the podcast, and they may pick up some things. I may miss some things. That's why you guys are here. So let's get right into it. I think that was enough for the introduction there, the whole 5-minute intro. Okay, and also for the guys that just joined in, thank you so much for joining into the podcast. I am your host, Bob Rock, and this is the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. So, you want to know what RC drifting is all about. You want to know where to start, what to do, what can you get, what can't you get, how much does it cost, where do you drift, how do you drift. It's so much of info. It's so much uh out there that it becomes so overwhelming. Well, my friends, I am here to try and simplify that whole process for you. um if I could describe RC drifting in my own way, I would say RC drifting it's an art. It's an art of controlled chaos, to put it that way. It's an artful way of driving your car sideways and smoothly around the bends. Um, you'll see that a lot with the real cars, and what we try to do with the RC drifting, aka radio controlled drifting, is to simulate the real drift cars that you see on the road. Now, it's not quite 100% an exact replica. The movements, they do replicate the real cars. The setups is very similar to the real cars. However, there is, and there will always be, a marginal difference between a drift car, an RC drift car, and a real drift car. No matter how much of R&D, how much you put into it, there will always be a difference. So you want to drift like how you see, uh, like how you've seen on the videos. You've definitely come across a few videos. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you definitely have seen some videos that I put up, and I share some videos from Europe, some from Japan, um, and you want to drift like that. Now, this is where sometimes we kind of get ourselves a little bit ahead of ourselves, and a little bit lost in that we see those videos. We go out and get a car, and then we think, okay, we're gonna get it right, we're gonna drift, and then not even a meter from trying to drift, the car spins around, and then you get frustrated. Now, therein lies the problem. Firstly, you're trying to do it by yourself. Secondly, you're not allowing yourself time to develop the skills for drifting. It's the same like driving a real car. You need to practice, you need to learn from somebody that has been driving, or has been driving for a while, or is an instructor, and then you learn the ins and outs, you learn the basics of how to drive, and then you're able to drive. It's the same thing with RC drifting. Basically, any motorsports, you need an instructor. You need to talk to chat with people who are in that field, and who are able to help you and teach you how to drift. Same thing with RC drifting. You get there's a lot of practice or training routines that you can do that will help you develop those skills. um, so RC drifting, how can I put it? Perhaps some of you guys that are watching, you guys can also share your comments on what, in your own words, what RC drifting is to you, and then we can all share and join in that conversation as well. Um, so yeah, a lot of people have been like I said, a lot of people have been asking about it, so that is why I'm doing this topic for today. So go to the comments. Hey, what's up, Brinley? Thank you for joining in, bruh. What's the loves? What's happening, Moazam? Shot for tuning in. Um, so look, that's so RC drifting. Ultimately, it's a hobby. It's an extracurricular activity. However, and this is purely based on my experience thus far. RC drifting can lead you to real life objectives, real life goals. One of them being real automotive sports. So there have been a few people who've done RC drifting and got into real drifting. Um, there are some real drifters who also RC drift. Funny enough, so or they don't do it majorly, but they do play around a bit. Um, Dude, you know what? We're actually going to have a Q&A a little bit later, but thank you for the question. I will answer your question first. Um, so, like I was saying, RC drifting leading to real world applications. Um, as some of you know, RC drifting can be quite technical. So for the guys that just joining in for this segment or for this part of the show, this episode, I'll try and explain it as best as I can. When I say that RC drifting is really can be very technical, the proper purpose designed cars for RC drifting set up just like or very similar to a real car. So when I'm talking, when I mean setting up like a real car, I mean like you can adjust camber, you can adjust the toe. So your camber, uh, if those are your wheels, just to quickly describe, that is your camber. So you know when you see pictures of those stanced cars and the wheels are at an angle, yeah, when the wheels are at an angle like this, that's called camber. So you can adjust the camber. Toe is this. It's yeah, basically if your wheels are straight and they turn out a little bit or they turn in a little bit, that's called toe. So you can adjust that. You can adjust ride height, the ride strength, your spring rates. You can also the shock absorbers on the RC cars. You can adjust them by changing the viscosity of the oil. You can play around with weights, and then you get electronic tuning. It can get very technical. So when I say they have real world applications, I mean that these RC drift cars, even though that they are quite similar and scaled down, but they are based on real car concepts. One manufacturer who comes, in my opinion, comes close to that is actually the D-Lag with the D-Lag RER hybrid. If you follow them and if you watch all of the videos and the R&D that they do, you'll notice that a lot of the concepts they base off a real car. So you know they do a lot of testing. So RC drifting leading to real world applications. That's one part of it. Someone maybe you have a child who's very technical, mechanically, very hands on, loves to dismantle things and find out how they work. So this is excellent. This is one of the things that they can get into to find out. So they can go maybe into automotive engineering or mechanical engineering. Then perhaps you have somebody who's more electronically minded, somebody who's also quite creative. RC drifting is there because we use electric type cars. Then they play around with motor sizes and then how to tune those electronics, the your electronic speed control, how to tune that. You get your turbo and boost settings, how to tune that. um, And then also on the creative side, then you get all your working lights, your headlights, and indicators and hazards, and then you get underglow, and then you can do so much there. So maybe you have somebody who wants to do some custom lighting, but they don't just take your generic light kits that you get. Maybe they work on something with a Raspberry Pi circuit, and then they program it, and then they do some fancy stuff with the electronics. So that can, and then who knows, that'll lead them into electronic engineering. Then perhaps you get somebody who's more creative, um, who loves painting and loves scale work and that sort of thing. There you could, that person could, I don't know, could become an artist of some sort, or or let's see, or like a scale builder. Maybe, who knows, uh, maybe they think of some niche scaled down product that will take them beyond our shores. Maybe it'll inspire them to start getting into modeling and then sculpturing. You never know. So there's a lot of real world applications when it comes to RC drifting. Sorry, I know that's a bit boring, and I didn't mean to go on like that, but it's just, when you it's just something I've been thinking about a lot when you on when and I won't use the word convince or persuade, because that has certain connotations that you're trying to push your own uh, ideology, or you're trying to push your own um, bias upon somebody else. I will say that the reason I've said that is to rather inform and give an all-round overview about the potential that RC drifting has. So bottom line, besides looking at those bigger ideas, RC drifting at the bottom line is just super fun. It's just absolute fun. It's a jol. A jol means fun in Afrikaans. So when I say jol, it equals to fun. So there's another word for you guys. Jol. Jol. Jol means party, means fun. What's up, Benjamin? Thank you so much for joining in. So yeah, if there anybody else that has just joined in, I'm your host Bob Rock, and this is the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. So the first part of this, the first segment of the show for today, we're talking about RC drifting, basically an intro into RC drifting, what it can lead to, what it's about. We just finished up the what it can lead to part, which I may have gone spoken a little bit too much. I feel like I'm getting a bit boring. So guys, please, if I'm getting a boring, just give me a sign, and then we can move on to something else or change it up a little bit. Um, yeah, so one of the main things about RC drifting, I always get asked, and I'm sure a lot of you get asked as well, is the cost. The cost of RC drifting. Wow, that can be, that's a rabbit hole, man. That's pure, just a rabbit hole. You become like Alice in Wonderland. Zachary says it can lead to more fun. Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. Um, and I want to come to that. I want to come to that, Zachary. Benjamin says, and empty wallets. Oh yes, most definitely. So the cost of RC drifting. Look, I'll be straight with you, and it may be a bit of an unpopular opinion. In SA, with our economic state, trying to get into RC drifting at that level is big bucks. It's rather expensive, and it takes time for us to work up to that level where we can get such competitive equipment. However, we manage, we make it work, and we get there. Now, for the guys that just want to come in And this is something that it's a piece of advice that I'm giving to you guys who get approached by new guys coming in. Don't tell them what your current setup costs. Just tell them it's really expensive, but you don't need to look at it now. Don't give it, because I've and this has happened so many times when you tell a newcomer, like, you know what, they ask you, hey, that's a nice car, you drove so well, it looks so good, so how much did that cost? The moment you tell them how much it costs, it completely puts them off, and that's not what you want. You want to attract them to the hobby. So my approach is usually that, you know what, this is a competitive level chassis, and it costs a bit more because I compete. And I give them a small breakdown. Look, I compete here and there. And when you're competing, obviously, you need you need a certain level of equipment in order to keep up or be competitive with your opponents. However, if you were just coming in as a beginner, here's what you do. There's a store here that has an RCR kit. It's all-wheel drive, but it'll get you introduced into RC cars, into RC drifting, what it's about. From there, you can upgrade, you can sell, and then buy something better. And then if I come across somebody who's a little bit on a little tighter budget, I tell them, look, don't look at anything new. Look at a secondhand. Look at secondhand RC gear. That way, if you feel like it's not something you want, it's not something you like, then you can always sell up, and you can either get your money back or get a little bit more, or you won't lose as much as if you buy something new and it just sits there collecting dust. So a lot of the times that approach has worked for me more. um, so let's get down to the nitty gritty of it. RTR in South Africa, RTR kit for a beginner, you're looking at about 3 to 3,500 rands. Um, it comes complete with everything. Look, it's a brush system, but that's fine for the moment. You can always upgrade the electronics later. It comes with a decent body, everything you need. Charge a battery, put the battery in, and go. So that'll get you introduced into RC cars, and then you can take it further. Then there are certain training regimens that you can go through that will help you uh, learn throttle control, and also will teach you how to throw your car into a drift, as well as to maintain a drift. So the cost can be, it's around there. However, if you look at the second hand market, the price is like half, dude. It's like almost half. And if you spend the same amount, you'll actually get something really, really good. So, if you need any more advice about getting into RC drifting, or you're looking to buy something, please, you can contact me, message me, DM me anytime, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Usually, I answer very, very quickly, but if I don't, you can always get back to me, and yeah, and I will help you and I will guide you. And if you are really interested, I will teach you everything that I know. I'll hook you up with the people around you in your area, wherever it is, and I will hook you up. Hey, what's up, Marcio? How you doing, my man? Thanks so much for joining in. Let's see. Zachary says leads to opportunity and forging new friendships. Yes, on that. I think if you guys don't mind, please bear with me. I'd love to share my little story. Um, and perhaps it will inspire other people. So I've done a few other things, other extra things outside of work. So like I used to play a lot of action cricket, action soccer. Uh, then I did fishing. Actually, I went quite heavy into fishing. I started fishing for a club, but I put a stop to fishing because one is I wasn't like really good at fishing. I was okay, but I wasn't really, really good. Um, the other reason well, the reason why I stopped with fishing was because I went back to complete my studies. And then eventually life took over. Then I sold up my gear, and then I got into RC drifting. And I must say that it's been the most successful thing that I've done thus far in terms of like a hobby and everything. It's brought me the most amount of fun, the most amount of joy, and most importantly, the most amount of balance in my life. It really balanced out um, work, family, home, everything. It just brought a new sense of balance in my life. So it fed my need for a social activity. It fed my need for a creative activity. And then the best thing about RC drifting was that I met so many people. It took me to places I've never been before. It introduced me to people I never thought I would speak to ever. And I can happily and proudly say that I've got friends, and I consider each of these relationships as a friendship. So I can proudly say that I've got friends from New Zealand all the way through the globe to the US. um, and it to such a point that whichever country I go to, almost any country that I go to, um, besides Africa, strangely, South Africa, yes, but what I'm saying is I can go to almost any country or most of the countries and actually find a friend there. And this is what RC drifting has done for me. It's given me a lot of opportunities as well. It's brought a lot of kindness and generosity towards me as well. um, Opportunities, I'd say the biggest has been being at the World Championship. One of the most fun and exciting opportunities has to be um, shooting the movie with Red Bull South Africa and Red Bull globally for the Red Bull car park drift that happened 1 or 2 years ago. So that's been very, very cool, very exciting, yeah, to work with them. And then earlier this year, I worked with them again to do some activations uh, for the 2022 Red Bull car park drift. So yeah, RC drifting can definitely take you places. And like I said, it's so much fun. It's so social. It's so social that you make friends so easily, and everybody's so warm and welcoming. It's the most brilliant hobby you could ever be into. Uh, right. So next part of the show is usually where I have a whole bunch of other stuff, but for now, some new products on the market. Let's see. Okay, so Rev D seems to be teasing us with something new, and it appears to be a complete new chassis. I'm assuming it's a whole new chassis because they started the trend with the pixelating of of the pictures and give us a teaser. So it seems that it's hinted at being called the RDX. I don't know whether that's true or not, but don't take my word for it. However, you can take my word that they are coming out with a new product. It most likely I've heard through the grapevine that it may be a new chassis because I don't see what other uh, uh, what other popular chassis they could do a conversion kit for. They've done their products fit into they're like universal, really. I mean, you got the MC1 and then the MC2. That's for the yeah, for the GRK and the Yokomo. I seriously doubt they're gonna do an MC3 for the overdose because they sort of competitors. The overdose Yoko and Revdi. So I think it's about time that they come out with their own chassis. So keep a lookout for them. Let's see, and then Accuvance with the RAD ESC. Perhaps Zachary can give us just a few comments about the RAD ESC. I mean, that thing looks amazing, amazing. In fact, it kind of reminds me of the pyramids in Egypt. One of the first pyramids they discovered was the stepped pyramid. It kind of reminds me of that with the pattern and the design. Um, I don't know how much better it is than the Jarvis XX, but I believe that it's quite a strong ESC. I'd love to get that. It's either I get that or the Jarvis XX. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, so those are the two new products I've come across recently. Other than that, um, yeah, nothing much new. I mean, Pandora is coming out with some accessories. Oh yes, big shout out to SRC, to my boy Vivian, for putting out his awesome SRC products. If you visited his page recently, or just hit up your local dealer, whoever's your local SRC retailer, for some new products that have come out from SRC. One is that awesome keyring of his. Oh man, I need to get my hands on them. Marcio asks, oh yeah, you know what? Actually, um, damn, I supposed to just show you guys my bodies. Uh, oh, okay, we'll do that in the next episode. So I've got a whole bunch of new bodies, and I'm wondering which one should I do next. Now, with that being said, and Marcio, I'll get back to you just in a minute. So, with that being said, I think a lot of you may have already seen. I put up a post on the Worldwide RC Drift group asking about wanting to do a manga anime styled. I think manga is the more correct description of what I want to do. This manga style car that you find it'll look matte with the matte color, and you have these speed lines that's drawn on the body already. um, Hey Diego, how are you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for joining in. And for those of you who have just joined in, welcome, welcome. I'm your host, Bob Rock, and this is the P Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. Thank you again for the support. Really, really appreciate you guys being here. Yes, 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 I'm good, as you can see. Let me get my good side here. They're all my good side. So we are talking about just a little bit about the post I made on the Worldwide RC Drift Group. I'm looking at doing a manga styled body. So where you have the body is basically painted like a manga, yeah, like something out of a manga, something out of a cartoon, where you get these sort of blocked matte color on it, and you have the speed lines drawn on it. uh, so I had some really really good advice from a lot of people there. uh, so yeah, I'm definitely going to try it out. I have an older body, which I think will be a good test body to get it quite right. So I'm gonna try that out. I'm just gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna go with a solid color, probably white, and then just use some grays in there. Try and get some light grays, and let's see. I've got it all in my head, so hopefully I can get it out. But yeah, so the next episode, I'll have a few bodies, and then you guys can choose which one I should do next. And hopefully by then, I'll get my new livery, and then we can get that going. So on to the next segment of the SRC I mean, of my show. Sorry, I was looking at Diego's comment and got SRC on my mind. Okay, Diego says, I think the best body is in front and rear short, more place to the wall. Yes, 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 definitely. Um, let's see. I do have a Subaru. Uh, yeah, I got a Subaru. That's a little short back. Then I got an RX-7 FC3S. It's a Yokomo body, which I'm trying to keep as well. And then also in the stash is one of the last Yokomo Mark X. That one's a very special one. Subaru PRZ. No, no, no. Sorry, I should have been more clear. It's the Bagai. It's the Bagai Subaru. BMW M2. Oh man, I don't have I don't have BMW M2 money. The bodies from the M2 from the A Plastics is a little bit expensive at the moment. I got to save up a little to get it, but it's a great idea, great suggestion. I'll definitely look into it. So, guys, next segment before I get distracted is the Q&A. So, as much as I would love to answer everybody's questions, I want to give preference to the new guys or for the guys that's just watching my podcast, or if there's anybody there out there that's not in the drifting scene but would like to know more or would like to know something, or perhaps it's somebody interested in RC drifting and just wants to know a little bit more. Here's your chance. Here's your time. I'll give you all the focus. Please ask away, um, and I'll be most happy to answer your questions. So earlier on, we did have a question from a fellow friend who's not into RC drifting, but he does support my hobby quite a bit just by watching, asking questions. So I'll answer his question first. So he asked, why did I choose RC drifting? Well, the truth is, one day I was watching, I came across a YouTube video from Korea. It was the 2010, it was a 2010 Street Drift Challenge. And the track was, I don't know if it's still running, but it was the D Ragoon circuit, or the D Ragoon club, and they had a street style circuit. And this I'm talking was in the era of CS drifting. So I was watching this video and it was done so amazing. It was done absolutely beautiful. The track was like proper scale with street lighting and street decorations, and the track itself was done up like roads, like yeah, like a street circuit. It was amazing, and I saw these guys drifting, and they had Beamers and other JDM cars, and it was just a beautiful the way they drifting. And immediately I said, that's what I want to do. So that's how I got interested in RC drifting. And then afterwards, and again, this was also a time when forums used to be like really massive, long before Facebook got really big. There was a forum that was created by some guys called the 110 forum, and I got on there and started chatting with all like-minded guys who were drifting already, who had been in the game for a number of years. And I tried to find out if there was a scene in Durban. Much to my disappointment, there wasn't anything going on. So I looked at Joburg having the scene and Cape Town having a scene, and I was like, why is Durban sleeping on this? So let me do something about it. So it took me a year on that forum to find somebody in Durban who also likes RC drifting, and we managed to get in touch with each other. We started drifting, and we formed the East Coast RC Drift Club. And yo, Asad, thank you so much for joining in, bro. I really, really appreciate it. Please give a big shout out to Assad, everybody. Go check out his page. He is the man behind Team Jordan and the Beast Mode conversion kits that you see. He's doing absolutely fantastic work. His products are of great, great quality and a great performance. I know I have one myself, and it's a fantastic piece of equipment. So go give him a like, go follow his work. He's definitely worth every penny, every cent, every second. So yeah, big up to you, my bro. Thank you so much for joining in. um, Benjamin says, "Yeah, forums was big years ago, long before FB." Yeah, I kind of miss the forums. It was a great source of information. Everything was nicely cataloged, and you could really find stuff quite easily. Now you put one question on a Facebook group, and you get 1,000 different answers. So for somebody that's getting into a hobby, it can be so overwhelming, so overwhelming. So yeah, and then like I said, I found eventually I found somebody like-minded in Durban who wanted was drifting. We got together, we started the club, and that is the East Coast RC Drift Club, which I currently am the president and, well, co-founder. And last week we turned 8 years old. So the club is actually 8 years old out in Durban. We like the only drift club here in in Durban. And if you look at the city of Durban, it's actually quite big. So we are working on a few things to grow the hobby, grow the club, sort things out. But I'll speak about that another day. So, any more questions? Anybody has any questions? This is your time. We are in the Q&A part of the B-Rock RC show. I see Marcio has a question. He says, "Have you tested out the CLSD yet, brother?" Okay, so I did install the CLSD into my chassis. I didn't have a chance to test it fully. One of the reasons why I actually removed it from the chassis is not because I didn't find any difference or it made things worse. It's simply because I'm missing two key components to make it to work properly. So one is I'm missing. I need to get spacers because there is a bit of play between the actual diff and the diff housing, and then the diff cups, the gaps in the cups are a little bit wider than the regular than the standard diff cups. So, and you can't swap them out. So I need to get the diff protectors that will fill up the gap. So those are the two things I need to sort out. Okay, so Diego says, "What's your favorite chassis and why?" um Okay, so I've got a few. In terms of rear wheel drive, I've got three. I've got the YD2, I've got the Overdose GAM, and I've got the RER hybrid. Um, and I'll be straightforward. The hybrid is a completely different monster to deal with. It's an absolute beast to deal with. It takes a lot of technical knowledge, and a lot of time to set up properly. Also, um, that chassis, that's for fun driving. That's for like that's a driver's chassis. But like I said, it's very technical and difficult to set up. Also, it's more for an asphalt type of track. And at the moment, we've got um, painted concrete tracks, so I don't think it's quite ideal. And to be fair, I haven't given it enough time to really sit and tinker. So at the moment, it's more of a project. The GAM, I did drift it. I did like it. Uh, However, I must be honest about the gum. Um, you need there's certain key upgrades that you need from the standard chassis in order to set it up nicely and get it to run like like really nice. So unfortunately, and even though I'm an overdose dealer, um, it's very difficult. It's very expensive to set up here in SA to get those parts here in SA. So it's taking a bit of time, and it's going to take me a bit of time to save up the money for those upgrades. So at the moment, it's I just parked it off because I want to try and set up the hybrid. So the YD2, I must say, has given me the most amount of success. um, Fantastic platform, very easy to tune. Surprisingly, you don't really need upgrades to make the chassis run like comparatively. So yeah, it's definitely my favorite chassis at the moment. I've driven MST chassis as well. I've driven some very well MST chassis, the RMX, but yeah, it's not quite my liking. I still prefer the Yoko, the YD2. So I hope that answers your question about favorite and why. Benjamin says, "What is your favorite chassis you own? Not limited to comp, just the one that you have the most fun driving." Yeah, definitely. Like I think I've answered both you guys' question. Yeah, it has to be the YD2. Because of how easily you can set up, and I know it really. I know my YD2 really well. I know how to set up where's the sweet spot for it. um, and I can really push that chassis, so I can be really competitive with it, and I can be super fun with it, joining the train and just bang doors and just enjoy. And then when I want to switch to comp mode, I don't have to do anything except change the battery and then run it. So yeah, YD2 man. Any more questions? Any more questions? Let's see. How much of time has passed so far? Ah, okay. It's not a very long episode. I think that's pretty decent. So, whilst we wait for another uh, for another question. Sorry. Um, like I said, I'm an overdose dealer. Oh, wait, hold on. Here we go. Another question. Awesome. What's your transmitter? Okay, so I do have a bit of an older transmitter, but it's a very sentimental piece, and that's why I use it all the time. Um, it's I have a Sanwa MT4S. Now, the story behind it, and I hope this person doesn't mind me speaking about it. So, some of you know, I'm part of the Kamuadi family, the Kamuadi Drift Team. That's an international team made up of international drifters from all over the world, from the US, Europe, myself, and elsewhere. Um, a really good friend of mine named Stefan. Sometimes you'll see him on the podcast. When I was coming up for the Worlds, uh, uh, 2019 Worlds, he said, "Dude, I got something for you." And it just so happens that he, out of his generosity, he gifted me this radio. So I've been using the radio ever since. It's my favorite radio. I don't intend. I'll never get rid of it. That's for sure. But it's my favorite radio at the moment. And now it's made me a little biased towards the Sanwa radios, Sanwa transmitters. So if I have to get another transmitter, most likely it'll be the M17, but I kind of am leaning towards the 10px. But yeesh, the price is just insane. So Diego says, I think the big difference is the electronics. ESC servo gyro, you can make more direct drifting and speed. Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. The advancements in technology that manufacturers have made so far in the RC drifting industry is incredible. The level of electronic tuning that you have available now is just incredible. You can tune almost every electronic device on your chassis. ESC, servo, gyro. Some of these you can sort of you can tune directly from your transmitters. It's incredible. It's incredible. Uh, at the same time, though, we must keep in mind that your electronic tuning can only take you a, a certain amount of the way. The rest is going to be your mechanical tuning. You can't have your electronic tuning set up so 100% and then forget about your mechanical tuning, because it would mean nothing if your mechanical tune isn't right. So they go hand in hand, definitely. Again, so okay, so for the guys, especially the guys out in SA, out in South Africa, I'm an overdose dealer. I managed to get some stock in of the overdose body catchers. These are the realistic body catchers. They work incredibly well. I have them on my chassis as well. They work really well. I have a few left. Some of these have already been sold. So please, if you're interested, please DM me. You have my number, or message me on Facebook, and I can hook you up with a set of these. For the guys outside of SA, I would suggest look at your local retailer first. If you can't find them, if they don't have um, one of these and you really want it, then hit me up and I will hook you up. I do have a few left, so if you are interested and you can't get it locally, then come message me and I will hook you up with one of these. Otherwise, I strongly advise you to support your local hobby shop first before looking elsewhere. Hashtag local is lekker. Remember that. So, AC guys, that's what I got for you. And also for the SA guys, um, these awesome set of overdose wheels. It's the raised gram lights in a +7 offset. So if you guys interested, I have a couple of these left, so you might want to get on these quickly. And surprisingly, they actually are very affordable. SA. So hit me up if you're interested. That's all I have at the moment from overdose. And once this sells, I'll definitely be getting more stuff in. So yeah, hit me up. Okay. So any more questions from the audience? I'll just give it a minute or two. Perhaps you guys have some comments you would like to make. I'd really be interested in that. And if there isn't anything else, then yeah, we can call it a night. So yeah, Diego says, I love body catchers from overdose. Yeah, I know these are so nice, man. I really like them as well. They give you such a nice realistic look. It's one of the definitely one of my favorites to use. I must admit, I am a little bit biased towards the magnet mounts. I'm not too I'm a little bit skittish when it comes to putting holes in the body. But I mean, when you have a product so nice, a product like this, trying to get the glare out. What the hell, man? When you have a nice product like this, then all the fear goes away. Okay, so I see. Hey, what's up, bro? Thanks for joining in, man. Um, I'm quite happy that you just joined in. I know that you are a little bit are busy as well, and also the whole time zone thing, man. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to find a time that's suitable as much as possible, to try and accommodate as many people from different time zones. Okay, so Diego says, where you drive us drifting with a club inside, outside, carpet, underground. Okay, so we, my club, we got together and we built an outdoor track not too far away from where I live, and it's a smooth painted concrete track. So it's outside, it's out in the elements, which sometimes can be a little bit difficult because there's always a lot of cleaning to do. So if there's been a storm, then we gotta go in and sweep up. And every time we get to the track, we actually just gotta do a quick cleanup of the track, and then we can drift again. But it is what it is, and it's our own track, so we can't quite happy with it. We are working on refurbishing the track, which it desperately needs. But otherwise, yeah, that's our track. Mm, we'd love to have it covered though, at least. Even if it's there, but at least covered, or even the driver's stand to be covered. Yeah, because in SA in the summer, jeepers creepers, it can get so hot. Can we fry out there? But yeah, um, I'll I'll direct you to my club page. You can check out the track there. There's pictures there. There's some videos there, and then you can check out our track here in Durban. Um, yeah, Rob, man, I hope you're doing well. We haven't chatted in a while. I must get in touch with you and see how you're doing. Yeah, man, like, what's up with you? Haven't heard from you in a while. Okay, guys, I think that's about it for today's episode of the B Rock RC Show. Thank you again so much for joining in on season 3, episode 6, and motivating me to keep it going. I know it's not ideal, the format, the way it looks. It's yeah. I'm not too happy with it, but um, I'd rather keep the podcast going than not do anything at all. So up until that time where I can raise enough money to upgrade my PC, or raise enough money to buy another PC, for the moment you're stuck with me like this, because I know you guys appreciated the other format of how I ran the podcast. And also, I really miss doing the chat feature and learning new languages. Oh, that was one of the best things. So, yeah, please bear with me, and please join me and support me on my podcast journey. And I hope to meet all of you guys again, hopefully at another World's Championship. I'll definitely try and be there. Until then, take care, stay safe. Yes, thank you so much, Brunley. Yeah, definitely, man. You can catch me on PM. Thank you so much, Diego, for joining in and interacting and participating in the podcast. Really, really appreciate it. So yeah, guys, take care. See you guys all soon. Don't stop drifting. Remember, hashtag local is lekkers. Support your local hobby shops. Support your local tracks, and also just tag me in your events, man. I want to see what you guys are all about, what's happening around the world. I try my best to keep in touch with what's going on everywhere. So just tag me in your events, man. Tag me in your lives. Share. Let's, let me know what's going on in your part of the world. So that's me. I'm your host, Bob Rock, and this has been another episode of the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. Remember, You guys can catch this episode and all of my previous episodes on my YouTube channel. Just search for the B Rock RC Show. You can also catch me on other social media, Instagram, TikTok. Just search for Bob Rock, and you'll see my logo. And one more thing I was supposed to say. Oh yes, Spotify. I'm also on Spotify. I'm putting all the episodes on there as well. Same, the Bureaucracy Show. So take care, guys. See you guys next week, same time, same place, and I'll have more new stuff for you guys. Take care. Peace.